So go for it. West Country buzz.
Yeah.
Enlighten me.
So we are in phase 2 of West Country Buzz. We're actually just coming into the last year of the project at the moment. We hope there'll be more, obviously. But yeah, so we are focusing on the whole of the North Devon coast. So sort of the borders of Cornwall, obviously, all the way over to the Somerset border, which is on Exmoor. But yeah, so towards that way. And we're focusing on the sort of 5-kilometre radius from the sea inland. And that's because our key species that we're focusing on seem to be limited to the coastal areas. They used to be all over Devon. We used to have records from Dartmoor and things like that, but they're now just limited to these very small areas. So we're looking at the brown-banded carder and the moss carder. There are 2 focus species, and we have in 2019 we did a blitz at Bournemouth Burrows, and we've also found the ruderal bumblebee, which is obviously very rare in itself. And we haven't had records in that in Devon for a very long time. So that was very exciting to find that. So that's another sort of on the list.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Bournemouth Burrows, kicking over the laptop. Sorry, Bournemouth Burrows is sort of one of the key sites. This is where we find the brown-banded. We haven't actually really got any records of moss carder, which is worrying. We had a potential sighting, but they're very hard to differentiate between the species. So it's as much as people normally laugh at me, but you're looking for like single black hairs on their abdomen or their thorax. So yes. Pretty difficult to ID in the field.
Are they similar to the moss carders that, I mean, they won't be, obviously, they're separate species. I'm thinking about moss carders in the Outer Hebrides.
Yes, they're different subspecies. So yeah, the moss carders down here, and we do find them in Cornwall and places like that. They're a lot lighter. I think that's the right way around. I'm probably going to get.
I mean, you cannot miss the moss carders in the Outer Hebrides. They're just like flying red brick things.
Red bricks. There's a problem down here. They all start looking the same. Even the common carders, when they're, like the fresh males are coming out, they all start to look very similar, and hand lenses, and a lot of time sat on the floor with people looking at you like, what on earth are you doing? So, which is always fun. But yeah, so as I say, so we're sort of piloting the Nature Recovery Network for Natural England. So what we're doing is focusing on the key areas and then radiating out from there. So as I say, Bournemouth Burrows is this massive dune system in Braunton, believe it or not. So that's one of our focus areas. And the other one is Heartland, because we have some sort of new records from there as well. So we're using those 2 sort of key bits, and then, as I say, radiating it from there, working with landowners, or well, anybody and everybody who basically looks after or manages land, doing their bit for bumblebees, which is.
So is it that 5-kilometre stretch, because that's where the best habitat is? Yeah,
it's like that's where they seem to be limited to. In Cornwall, where there's quite some reasonable populations, they're all along that coastal stretch. Unfortunately, most of Devon has been farmed right up to, or like sort of improved right up to the coastal edge. So we are just trying to sort of deprove some of it and give somewhere for the bumblebees to live along that coastal edge. Provide various different flowers for them. They're quite late emerging, as most of our rare species are. So sort of looking at those later flowering things from sort of like late April, May onwards to sort of late September.
So do you, and I know that Nikki uses the yellow rattle a lot over in Kent. Is it similar or different species?
Yes, we do use yellow rattle just because it's a great meadow maker sort of thing. We also, if we meadow making, also use like red bartsia and things like that. But one thing they seem to love, which we found in Bournemouth Burrows, is Viper's bugloss, which is a beautiful plant and replaces nectar so quickly. So it's great. We also think the spring queens are quite associated with kidney vetch. So it's beautiful little flowers. So anything in that sort of group, sort of. It
sounds quite similar to the maca up in in the Hebrides, the kidney vetch and the.
Yes, we could have that just along the North Devon coast. That would be lovely. Just transplant them down.
It probably was once upon a time, wasn't it?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago. So is a lot of your work then working with the landowners to advise them with regards to what you can plant there?
Yeah, so we sort of got three key strands. So we sort of survey and monitor, and we provide support and advice, and then there's sort of land management. So obviously the surveying monitoring is pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of that also is working with volunteers or just general members of the public to teach them a Bumblebee ID so they can go out and look for themselves as well. But yeah, as you say, most of it is working with people to sort of manage their land for pollinators, specifically, obviously our bumblebees. A lot of North Devon is taken over by gorse and scrub and bracken, so we seem to cut a lot of that in the winter, make space for our wildflowers.
Yeah, bracken is just so difficult to get rid of, isn't it?
And then yes, relentless I think is the word.
Sounds like hard work.
It will go eventually.
And so did you say that this is phase 3 of the project?
Phase 2.
Phase 2?
Yeah, so originally phase 1 was a lot more broad, and Kathy worked on that specifically, and it covered sort of the whole of Devon, looking at generally just how anybody could work for bumblebees. But then we felt for phase 2 we needed to be a bit more specific with the species, because obviously these the brown banded and the moscarda were obviously more widespread, and now being so localized, we felt that they really needed some help. And to be able to do that, we needed to be more focusing on key areas rather than having like a broad brush sort of effect. So it's really trying to join up all these landowners. We get these little islands of beautiful sort of habitat, but they need sort of bridges between them. So.
Yeah. And so how long have you got left to go in your project?
So we're coming into the final year at the moment. 2021 into 2022. I hate financial years, I can't work it. That will be, at the moment, the final phase. Obviously, we always hope that we can continue, because there's a lot more work to be done up there. A lot more work.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And obviously to keep working with you as well.
I love my job.
And obviously there's the really important question of is it clotted cream or jam first?
See, I never know what. My dad would tell me that I'd offer this, I'm true Devonian, but whichever, just get
whatever
it on.
You like.
It all tastes the same, I'm sorry.
It's really funny because Amy is very much convinced that you guys do it right in Devon. And they've definitely got it wrong in Cornwall, whereas Roz was, nope, they've got it wrong. Definitely jam first. But I've never tried the clotted cream first, but doesn't the jam just slide off?
Well, this is a trick. You could make like a little well, sort of, just push the clotted cream slightly to the edges. Nice little jam well in the middle,
Right. As soon as this lockdown's finished, I'm coming down. I'm definitely coming. I'm going to try both.
Yeah. And you've got to try them on the right sides of the borders,
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, I guess I have to experience the A30 at some point in reality.
I wouldn't recommend it, but there's nicer roads. The Atlantic Highway, so sort of going, say it's North Devon and then into Cornwall along sort of past Heartland. It's a bit more scenic.
Okay, I'll take that route. That sounds much better. Better. Daisy, that's been brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, and I'll get this video uploaded to YouTube.
With it, how many miles have you got to go now?
I've done literally today 99.7 miles, so nice. Almost at 100, and I've got therefore 774 to go.
All right, just a couple then.
So just a few more counties to pass through. Yeah. So
lots
looking forward to. Yeah, and like we said at the start, it'd be so nice to be able to see some bees at some point too.
Yes, so it won't be long. Fingers crossed.
No,
people saw them flying on Christmas Day, so there you go.
Brilliant. Right, excellent. Thank you so much, and take care, and good luck with the rest of the project.
Thank you, Claire. Yeah.
We'll catch up again soon. Take care. Bye.